Hello, my name is Bryant Myers, author of the book PEMF, The Fifth Element of Health. You probably know food, water, sunshine, oxygen are essential for life, but there is a fifth element of health that most people don't know is essential, and that is the Earth's PEMFs, or pulsed electromagnetic fields, which is both the Schumann and the geomagnetic field, which is the magnetic field of the Earth. These frequencies and energies are so essential that NASA and the Russian space program actually equipped their spacecrafts with Schumann generators and magnetic field generators. So we need these frequencies. We need these energies for the body's circadian rhythms, energy production, and even to keep a pain-free body, which I'll explain later. But there is a twofold problem on planet Earth, which we'll explore in this video. And PEMF, as we'll find, is the solution to this problem with many benefits. And just to give you a preview of a few of the benefits that PEMF therapy has been research proven to provide, PEMF helps to eliminate pain and inflammation naturally. It will help you to get deep, rejuvenating sleep. It will increase your energy and vitality. PEMF will help you to feel younger, stronger, and more flexible. PEMF will keep your bones strong and healthy. PEMF will help your body with healing and regeneration, and it will help to improve circulation and heart health. And there's many more benefits, but those are just a few. Now, I want to get right into one of the most exciting aspects of my book, which is the body-mind-earth connection. And this connection is the 0 to 30 hertz frequency range, which I'll explain later in my book, but just to give you a brief preview, because it is so exciting that I want to just right away tell you about it. The Earth's magnetic field and the Schumann and geomagnetic frequencies are roughly in the range of 0 to 30 hertz. Now, the brain waves, as established by electroencephalograms and even medical science, are also roughly 0 to 30 hertz, from delta, theta to alpha to beta. The tissues and the healing response in the body, meaning the frequencies that the tissues in your body respond to, the nerves, the bones, ligaments, capillaries, are also, as we'll see, in the 0 to 30 hertz range. Well, that was Siskin and Walker. Addy and Bowen showed that your cells ideally respond to 0 to 30 hertz. And here's something that really gave me goosebumps, and my hairs were standing on end the first time I read it, is that the energies that your body emits is also 0 to 30 hertz. So we talk about the body-mind connection, but really it's the body-mind-earth connection, because our tissues, cells, brain, and our bodies are so intimately connected to the Earth's frequencies and magnetic field. So here's an introduction to how PEMF works. I like to say that PEMF therapy acts like a whole body battery charger, helping to recharge your 100 trillion cells. And that basically will recharge your cells. And PEMF therapy was featured on the Dr. Oz show in 2011 as the most important breakthrough in pain management, which is probably the number one reason people purchase a PEMF therapy device. There have been more than 10,000 scientific papers and over 2,000 double-blind studies. And you can go to PubMed.com and check on some of those studies. There was a 4-year NASA study done by Dr. Goodwin that really showed exactly the kind of frequencies and energies that are ideal for PEMF therapy, and we'll talk about that later. And the Johnson Space Center even developed a PEMF prototype for bone loss and muscle degeneration in space travel. The FDA has approved PEMF therapy for bone fractures, wound healing, pain and tissue swelling, and even depression. So I call PEMF the fifth essential element of health because I kind of base this after the Greek system and the ancient system of the elements, earth, water, fire, air, and then the ether. And most of us know we need food or earth. Most of us know we need water. You can only live a few days without water. You can live maybe a few months without food. Sunlight, if you don't get enough sunlight, you do get seasonal affective disorder. So sunlight is actually an essential element. And oxygen, we can only live a few minutes without oxygen. So most people would agree and understand that, yeah, we need those elements. They're essential. But there's a fifth element, the Earth's PEMFs, that I'm going to show you in this video, and I go into more detail in my book as to the research that proves that PEMFs of the Earth are an essential element, just like food, water, sunshine, and air. So the fifth element in the ancient system is called the ether, and so I kind of, loosely associate, because the ether is kind of energetic, with the PEMF. But there's two main types of PMFs on the Earth. There's the Schumann frequencies, which come from above, and the geomagnetic frequencies from below. And in my book, I give a nice history of 4 men that really discovered the essential nature of the Earth's PEMFs and the connection of the geomagnetic and Schumann frequencies with the body and mind. So it's kind of an exciting story, and I ask you to check out my book for that. Now, before we get into talking about PMF therapy, I just want to give you like an overview, kind of a new way of looking at the human body. So the body is primarily energy and information, a holographic field of energy information, and secondarily physical, although the physical body is important. You know, we have over 100 trillion cells, and there's somewhere around 500 billion chemical reactions happening every second in your body. So our mainstream models for explaining the human body as a mechanistic sort of a biological machine, or the biochemical model is like a bag of chemical reactions, is insufficient to describe the majesty and the complexity of the human body. So energy medicine and sort of quantum biology, or the new understandings in biophysics, are giving a whole new picture of the human body as a primarily energetic holographic field of energy information which can communicate via biophotons, and more secondarily physical. So PMF therapy actually goes along with this new understanding of the human body and can assist the body energetically in healing itself. Now, the Schumann resonance on Earth, you know, you can see in this picture in the upper right that the Earth is a very living planet, you know, and the Gaia hypothesis, or the Gaia theory by James Lovelock, very beautifully and poetically shows this, which I talk about in my book. But the Earth is very living, and you can see from the picture in the upper right that the magnetic field is very complex and stratified. And it's this magnetic field that is the source of the geomagnetic and also the Schumann frequencies. The Schumann frequencies come from the ionosphere, which is kind of the upper layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Just a little bit about frequency. Frequency is defined as cycles per second, and I go into detail in my book, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. But think of frequency, when we think of the electromagnetic spectrum, you know, radio waves are very long wavelength. You know, the gamma X-rays are your higher frequencies, and, you know, visible light's and infrared's kind of in between. So, you know, when we're dealing with Earth-based PEMF, you know, the Schumann and the geomagnetic frequencies of 0 to 30 hertz, we're talking about ELFs, or extremely low frequencies, which are even in the lower spectrum of the radio. Because some of those short band radios, the way they can work around the world is they're kind of almost piggybacking on the Schumann sort of resonance. But the Schumann frequency, the way that it's produced is through lightning strikes. And then on planet Earth, there's about 7 million lightning strikes a day, or about 5,000 a minute. And this kind of rings the ionosphere like a proverbial bell, and to the tune of 7.83 and the higher harmonics. So the Schumann resonance is a quasi-standing wave, or a quasi-scalar wave. So it's kind of a more fundamental, deeper energy. So in the Earth's magnetic field, along with the Schumann resonance, it has a frequency that's modulated. And there was some good research done by Klaus Piancik on the 0 to 30 hertz frequencies of the Earth. And even Nikola Tesla said the Earth's magnetic field was around 12 hertz. So now I want to talk in a little more detail on the body-mind-earth connection, the 0 to 30 hertz range. So let's begin by looking at the study done by Addy and Bowen, where they found that cells respond primarily to 0 to 30 hertz, meaning if you use frequencies higher than 30 hertz, you know, the cells just don't really respond to those higher frequencies. And in their particular study, they found a peak around 16 or so hertz, which would correspond roughly to the second harmonic of the Schumann resonance. But you can still see, though, that the cells are tuned to the 0 to 30 hertz range. Now, a study done by Siskin and Walker, they found that tissues in the body seem to primarily also respond to 0 to 30 hertz. Like, for example, nerve regeneration happens around 2 hertz, bone growth around 7 hertz, ligament healing around 10 hertz, and then the stimulation of capillary formation 15 and 20 hertz. We can see a beautiful picture of the Schumann resonance juxtaposed with the brain alpha state. So alpha And brain state research is sort of a very relaxed state of mind. Like I mentioned earlier in my first video, is that the brain operates roughly at 0 to 30 hertz from low delta up to high beta. But the Schumann resonance, interestingly, is right at this very relaxed alpha state. So brain state research also confirms that the 0 to 30 hertz range is what our brains operate at. We can see a study done by Zimmerman and also confirmed by Sato in Japan, done on Reiki healers and Qigong masters, showing that our bodies actually emit 0 to 30 hertz. In fact, not only like from the hands of these Reiki healers did they emit 0 to 30 hertz, but their hands literally were scanning up and down the 0 to 30 hertz range. So it wasn't like the hands are just emitting one frequency. We actually emit all the frequencies in this Earth frequency range. So think about that for a minute. So our tissues and cells resonate to 0 to 30 hertz. Our brain operates at 0 to 30 hertz, and we even emit up and down in a scanning fashion 0 to 30 hertz. And remember, the Earth itself primarily is giving us a 0 to 30 hertz frequency. So here's kind of a summary, and I showed the slide at the beginning of the first video. And this really just ties it all together. The body-mind-earth connection. The Earth's frequencies, 0 to 30 hertz. The brain waves, 0 to 30 hertz. Our tissues and cells operate at 0 to 30 hertz. And we even project 0 to 30 hertz from our bodies. So you can see this intimate connection we have with our planet Earth and also our body and mind. So now let's get into this idea of PEMF being a whole-body battery charger. So I kind of mentioned that in the first video, but the cells are literally miniature batteries. You know, we have 100 trillion cells, and cells are batteries and batteries are cells. In fact, the word battery is a collection of two or more cells by definition. And our cells in our body are able to store 10 million volts per meter, meaning we have a cell membrane that's about 7 nanometers across, and the voltage across the cell membrane is around 70 millivolts for a healthy cell. Now, when we get sick, our cellular voltage will diminish. So there's a direct connection between your health and your cellular voltage. Dr. Otto Warburg did some of the pioneering research on the connection between voltage and health, and he found that healthy cells have around 70 and even upwards to 120 millivolts. And if you have chronic illness or disease, the voltages start to plummet. And, you know, many different chronic illnesses can have voltages as low as 30 to 50 millivolts, and cancer can be like 10, 15, 20 or below. And interestingly, we never hear about heart cancer, and it's because the heart is the most energetic organ in our body, and heart cells will have that 120 millivolts of voltage. In fact, the field in our body extends 15 feet out into space as detected by science, and it's the heart field that's what's going out the farthest. So here's 7 ways that PEMF recharges your cells, and I go into detail in my book on this, but just to very briefly summarize, first, PEMF recharges the transmembrane potential. That's called TMP, and that's basically the voltage across the cell membrane. It also increases ATP production in the mitochondria, and so the TMP and ATP are the 2 primary ways the cells store energy. It enhances the sodium-potassium pump, so it gives a net positive charge on the outside of the cell. Increases cellular pH, and pH, interestingly, pH meters are voltmeters. pH is a direct measure of the voltage of your cells. So if you have healthy cells, you're going to be in a slightly alkaline environment. PEMF helps to oxygenate the cells. It helps to lower blood viscosity, improves circulation and microcirculation. And it creates a healthy level of electroporation. Electroporation literally means helping through using electricity or magnetism to make the cells more porous. And this will allow nutrients to go in the cells more effectively and waste products to go out. But we have a twofold problem. You know, the fact that this is why we need to supplement with PEMF. And the first part of the twofold problem is we're simply not getting enough of the good frequencies of the Earth. And along with that, our Earth's magnetic field is declining in intensity or strength. Another reason we don't get enough of the good is that we're also very insulated. We spend a lot of time indoors. The average person spends most of their time inside. Helps to oxygenate the cells. It helps to lower blood viscosity, improves circulation and microcirculation. And it creates a healthy level of electroporation. Electroporation literally means helping through using electricity or magnetism to make the cells more porous. And this will allow nutrients to go in the cells more effectively and waste products to go out. But we have a twofold problem. The fact that this is why we need to supplement with PEMF. And the first part of the twofold problem is we're simply not getting enough of the good frequencies of the Earth. And along with that, our Earth's magnetic field is declining in intensity or strength. Another reason we don't get enough of the good is that we're also very insulated. We spend a lot of time indoors. The average person spends most of their time inside. We drive with cars with rubber tires. We walk in shoes with rubber soles. We sleep in insulated beds. And we're spending a majority of our time in concrete and steel structures. So this divorces us or disconnects us from the Earth's natural magnetic field. Part one is we're not getting enough of the good frequencies, and part two is we're getting too much of the bad. And the bad frequencies are your electrosmog. I go into detail in my book on this, but the two main types of electrosmog or dirty electricity are your 60 hertz power line frequencies, and all the appliances in your house are kind of going to be operating at these frequencies. I throw CLFs in there, or compact fluorescent lights, because they're so unhealthy. And again, check out my book for reasons why. So you have the 60 hertz power line frequencies, and you also have the microwave, like 4G networks, and all the modern technology that we're used to with cordless phones, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, smart meters. A lot of these are operating at microwave frequencies. In fact, the 4G network is almost identical to the frequency that's used by microwave ovens. I want to move on here to now the top 8 benefits of PEMF therapy. So PEMF therapy will, at the cellular level, it charges up the cells. So it's working very fundamentally. And it will help you to, as research has shown, to have stronger bones. It will help improve endorphins and of course, which works with pain relief. And it also directly works at breaking up cycles of pain. It helps you get better sleep. It'll help you to have more energy, better oxygenation and circulation, an improved immune system, relaxation and stress reduction, and nerve and tissue regeneration. And those are just a few of the many benefits that you'll get. And finally, in the last chapter of my book, I go over action steps that you can implement in your life to improve your health right away.